Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another episode of Electripreneur Secrets. This is episode 253, the lead multiplier principles, why we need it in this $1 million launch, why we're going to get it, and how we're going to do that on this podcast. I am your host, Clay Newmeyer. With me, as always, my esteemed co-host, Joseph Lucani, and we are the Electripreneurs. Just a couple of master electricians with business addictions and apparently a podcast addiction because we keep coming back 5 days a week to serve you at the highest level and help you. So whether you're driving down the road behind the windshield or you're at the gym or you're at the call with the buds in your ears, take this freemium daily coach call and run with it. Take everything we give, just promise to take action and report your wins back to us. Joseph, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing really, really, really great today. And you know what? I actually wanted to ask you a question live to show how great of a day it is.
Uh-oh. Am I on the spot here?
No, you're good. It's that the reason why I'm in having a good mood is because remember when we first started working together, Facebook was one of the hardest things for me to wrap my mind around.
Yeah.
And now today, I'm like, oh, well, I did the wrong kind of post today. Well, I'll switch it tomorrow. Hey, Clay, should I put up a lightsaber video of myself or should I post about my Magic the Gathering addiction? And just the thought of being able to be in that kind of space and be so authentically and nerdy yourself.
Yeah.
I want to say, first off, thank you for teaching me all the skills that it took to actually get comfortable enough in this marketplace to where I could even show that kind of nerd flag.
I could throw a question right back, man. I love that you're throwing the nerd flag. Jacob said in class the other day, the freak flag, let the freak flag fly, which is a bit of a tongue twister, that alliteration. But like, really, would you want to do it any other way, Joe?
You know, you think about it, and when I first started, it was like, yeah, I got to make sure people like me, which is that same old childhood fear that has followed me everywhere. And now I'm not as concerned about being liked. I'm more concerned about who I can help. And
That's
I can help more people by being authentically myself. So it doesn't matter if they like me. It matters if they're willing to listen because I have stuff that's good to say, whether they like it or not.
I love that, man. And that ties perfectly into our process. You know, if we looked at this thing like growth, like getting to the next level, like it's actually a ladder and there's several components to it, that faith in your ability to grow oneself and tell a story of a growing person, not the story of a diminished child or someone who's held down, right? Like, you ever have a friend or someone say to you, like, well, I can't do that because I am this.
That's a dangerous statement because it's like you're already putting the shackles on yourself, but you're doing it to yourself. Any I am statement better be positive because you're going to manifest whatever that following statement is.
100%, man. Super, super limiting. So in this ladder, this $1 million launch ladder that we're building, what's with the alliteration, the tongue twisters today?
I don't know, man. But you know what? Go for it.
You got to have these components. You got to actually recognize and tell yourself a good story, right? You got to be able to be you. And for us, we want the foundation of that ladder, right? You ever climb a big extension ladder? Maybe it's a 30-footer and it's just like, oof, this is kind of sketchy up here. If that's not with good footing, what happens?
Well, my tallest ladder I ever climbed was a 45-foot aluminum extension ladder doing de-icing cables on a roof. And I can tell you from experience that that was not a fun fall. That is not a fun fall to have. So yeah, you look over, you better be sure you're grounded right.
What better footing? And I love the grounding tie. Absolutely. Right. Little electrician language in there, but you need the footing because otherwise you're going to fall, guys. So what better way than to have great, authentic footing in your business and being able to wholly represent yourself while you do the thing you love. Not to get it too confused. And we got a big topic, so I just got to shut up with this anyway. I'm not going to sit here and fly the flag of chase your passions and this and that, but you ought to tie a passion into what you're doing so that you can speak to it like we do. We're not superhumans. We're just people. I've got flaws. Joe's got flaws. We're not perfect. We're just representing ourselves in a way that says, you know what, freak flag flying. We're doing this anyway. We're going to put our best foot forward. And that ties perfectly into what we're talking about today. And that's this lead multiplier, this impact that we want to have in our business. Yesterday, we talked a bit about the objections and a couple of the common ones and really helped bash those down a bit, guys. If you didn't get the value price objection value piece, that guide that we give away for free, you can go ahead and comment on this podcast in the Electricpreneur Secrets group. Still, just throw a 1 in the chat if that's easier for you. Last thing I want to do is have you distracted driving or getting distracted from your work trying to type a big message. So it can help you with that. But all of that leads us to a sale. Mm-hmm. When we make a sale, we want to multiply the sales, or at least the opportunities. What are some ways we could do that, Joe?
Well, I mean, there's a couple different opportunities. When you're talking about multiplying your sales, it could be the expanding the leads from it. It could be offering options on it. It could be going and doing better good neighbor policies. It could be following through. There's a lot of different options we can take.
Right off the bat, because we're a new company, a big R word comes to mind.
Reviews.
I want to get some reviews.
Yeah.
That's going to help us on our just free Google at this point. Mm-hmm. And by the way, just a reflection moment, if I can. I know I'm kind of ADD here a bit, but Dan, the last interview we did with our client who did the $1 million launch last year and proved this whole theory to be quite productive, is now smashing. He's smashed 2 program records now in the last week. He just had a completely organic week, registering, I want to say it was about $172,000 in sales from his van personally. It's amazing, right? And that is in itself also proof of this concept, this lead multiplier, because you know what? Reviews are a huge piece of that. And getting those referrals from his referral partners are a huge piece of that. Mm-hmm. And like you said, even the Good Neighbor program is going to be a huge piece of that. So Joe, what can we give away to help people with the first one, the review piece? How can we make sure we got, more reviews than the average bearer, let's say? I mean, I tend to believe that we should be able to get at least 6 out of 10 and aim for 8 out of 10 reviews. What are your thoughts?
I think that's actually very sustainable, provided that people are willing to do one thing.
Okay.
And that is ask for them, like actually ask for them. Believe it or not, the reason why the stats are so skewed is because it takes into account the amount of zeros that you get with them, where people don't even ask, or they wait for the customer to volunteer something, or even they shakily ask once. The customer says, yeah, I'll do it if you email it over. And then they just never do anything with it. Our method is very, very different because it's meant to get a result immediately.
Yeah, I like that. So you're saying one of the biggest piece of advice you have for getting reviews is to actually ask.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing, because people are like, well, how do I get more reviews? At every angle, it's like, I want more Google. I want more AngieList. I want more Yelp. I want all these reviews. So, okay, well, think about if you were the customer, how would you go about writing a review for someone? Well, typically it's going to go to my email. So I have to remember, and I've got to eventually open that email that I never really look at anymore because I'm always on social media. So I got to remember to go to my email. I've got to hope that you actually sent it the way you said you were going to, that I can then access it, that I don't have to go to multiple landing pages, that I don't need to go find my password for, oh yeah, I haven't logged into AngieList in God knows how long. I got to find my AngieList password, go into that, re-log into it, and then post a review and hope that there's no technical issue.
You just put me in overwhelm.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Your customer is in that place. And yet we wonder why they don't do it. Even further, we haven't even gotten it to load. Let's say that eventual site that you want them to put the review on has any sort of technical issue. What level of troubleshooting do you think your customer is willing to do in order to write you that review?
Man, any bump in the road is just a complete abandonment.
Complete abandonment.
In fact, like, did you know, and I'm just going to relate something outside, like in e-commerce where people buy things from stores, there's an overall 70% cart abandonment rate. And that was for things they wanted that they haven't received yet. They've already got the goods and now you're asking for a review. How high on this is it in the priority list of their life, really?
It's not. But there are some ways that we've learned through experience that you 100% can get a review without being pushy.
Okay.
Can I dig into it at all?
Yeah, man, let's hit it.
All right. So following the typical procedure, I'm just going to piggyback off of that, which is you've asked the customer for the review, right? And then you say what the typical customer is going to be like, yeah, email it over to me. That's where we differ from there. Because what we've done is you went and figured out, okay, If I was the customer doing it, I'd want to know where I could log in. So I would have had every single link to every place I would have wanted them to have a review. I'm already practiced in writing these reviews and knowing how to access these sites. So there's no technical issue on my end. And when the customer says, yeah, I'll be happy to, just email it over. You know what? I appreciate you be willing to take that step for me, but I want to make your life even easier. So to do so, I have actually already printed everything out here. Where would you want to put it? You want to go in Google? Okay, let's click here. All I got to do is put in your information. Great, no problem. And if they don't want to sign into it, not a problem. Would I have your permission if we just wrote something out that I could copy it and put it on your behalf? Great. If nothing else, bare minimum, could I open up my company website and you just swipe 5 stars? They've already said yes to your face, but they were not expecting you to have it right there available. Almost everyone says yes because they don't want to say no to your face because that would be rude. But what are the odds that after saying yes to your face, smiling at you, that if you pulled it out immediately, they wouldn't have to eat their words and then just do it?
Yeah, man. Of course. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. This is you being prepared, but do you think it's also another P word? Do you think that's pushy at all, Joe?
You know what? It depends on the motivation that goes behind it.
Okay.
Because let's say someone were to come by and I ask you for a review and you said, yes, I'll write you a review. Well, my goal is to make it easier for you, right? Well, the first thing is to be like, oh, you don't have to do that. Well, I completely understand why you say that. But if you think about it, in order to write me a review, you've got to go to your email. You've got to load it up. You've got to find where it's going to be, whatever kind of passwords need to be there. And then eventually it's got to be on your mind to do. I'm here to take things off your plate, not add things to them. Is it wrong of me to just want to make your job a little bit easier since you said you're already going to do this?
No.
So if they say no from there, like, hey, I'll just get to it later, that's their way of saying no.
Yeah.
And you can assume they're not going to leave you a review then. And the pushiness can stop unless you want to make a follow-up call, maybe 3 days in the future, doing a happy call about their experience.
Or if you got a CRM, let your follow-up emails try to
Exactly.
handle it. They'll be annoyed by it. Eventually they'll block you or they'll do the thing. But
Yeah,
assuming you've got a repeat client here and you followed the loop method and everything we're doing, I'm assuming we're going to get 8 out of 10 reviews.
And that would make a lot of sense. And when you want to go through and track it, we would get between 6 to 8%, or sorry, 6 to 8 out of 10 would be the people who would accept the reviews that we present them to. So really, if they said, yes, I will, they've already got that first mental commitment. And by you simply having it following their yes, the reasons they could say no become very low. And therefore, you're likely to succeed.
And let me just ask a quick question and we can wrap reviews up. I mean, I think this is pretty cut and dry, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there and the listeners who are with us right now, right? You're out there, you've seen the Google listings, you're counting the reviews. You've seen that one with maybe it's 199 in your area. Maybe they're up to 400. Maybe it's, 550 because you're next to a Mr. Sparky. You ever wondered what it would be like to be the top dog? Right?
I mean, yeah.
You ever think about that impact it would have, the smile it would put on your face to know that you've got the most 5-star or very close, a 4.9 star average over 500 reviews? This comes back to like that endurance race thing. It's just like the sales. How this adds up, like it doesn't matter if someone else has 300 because they've been in business for 7 years, getting 2 out of 10, waiting for the email to do the work. Imagine that race in just a year or two. If you're getting 6 to 8 out of 10, 60 to 80% conversion on your reviews, doesn't that help people connect? And to drive this home, doesn't that increase the odds that people say the exact things you want your next client to read and hear in that review and help you with your sales?
You're speaking to your target audience. So as a fact, you're also keeping it within the community that you're hoping to serve best. Because by using those specific keywords like Clay and Joe were phenomenal. I installed my new whole home automatic system and Thanksgiving was saved. And now, boom, we have someone specifically saying they're the people to go to. All right, I want to work with this.
100%. It's a no-brainer. I'm going to ask for reviews every time.
As you should.
in this $1 million launch. The other piece we wanted to tie into this one, Good Neighbor program. Now, we've done whole episodes on this before, but it belongs here in this launch because the other thing I'm going to do, you're going to do, is the Good Neighbor program.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't we? Granted, some of the objections you hear are like, well, that takes time, or, well, it says no soliciting in this neighborhood. Well, you're not supposed to solicit in this state. Hear different things, but like define soliciting for one.
So
Again.
the goal is I'm going to show up to try to sell you something.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're doing.
Not at all.
I'm literally knocking on your door to do one of two things. It could either be, hey, I'm doing an installation next door, and I just wanted you to know that if I need to move my van or I had any garbage that blew over, I just want you to know that you can give me a call. Happy to come by and address it for you. It's one avenue.
Yeah.
Or the second was, I just finished working for John across, the one in the red house. And he thought that after working with us, that it'd be a good idea that he introduced myself just in case you ever needed an electrician. Would you like a card just so that we can be in contact for the future? 100%. I'm not selling you nothing.
It's a convenience factor. And I actually I said this before, and we've showed this in a class. One of our students, actually, one of our partners in this, shared it with us. It's Hormozy. If you guys are fans of Alex Hormozy at all, listening to this, guy's awesome. He's clearly doing great things and gives away as much as we do. So it's inspiring to see that level of just care to his audience as well. But he does this video where he's making like $1 million trash company. Very similar kind of to what we're doing. But he does the Good Neighbor program. He doesn't call it that, but he knocks on the neighbor's door anyway. Hey, I'm taking out the trash for the Johnsons. And I just thought, since I'm coming by and since I'm here, maybe I could take your trash too. It's just really funny and oversimplified, but they do one portion where he gets just a door slammed in his face. And it's the best thing I've ever seen, Joe.
I love it. I absolutely love this part.
He's just like pauses, right? And there's snow blowing in the hallways in an apartment building. And it's like, that was cold. But you know what? I am 0% poorer. And now I'm going to go to the next door and I'm going to knock on that too. Why? Because maybe they need their trash taken out. You don't know. You will seize exactly 0% of the opportunities you don't try for.
And it's the craziest thing because people like looking for excuses to not do it. So like when I first started doing the Good Neighbor program, I remember looking at the driveway and being like, is there anyone home? All right, no one's home. Maybe I'll knock. Oh, no one's home. Just like I thought. All right, I'll leave the door hanger. And then go by. Oh, that person looks mean. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to them. But the fact is that you just need to knock because you're literally not selling them anything. You're going there to say, I'm trying to give you something in case you need it in the future. Free of charge. Here you go. That's all I'm doing. Is it wrong of me to want to just check and see if you have an electrician for the future?
Even at the very least, in like the worst case, there was some shred of evidence, some memory, right? You caught them at a bad time even, and later on they need an electrician. They're still going to recognize another moment that they saw Service Loop Electrical. It's still going to be another drip. It's still going to be another little addition, no matter how small that is, to their reasons to call us. We work in their neighborhood. We worked for John already. We already did the thing for him. It wasn't a good time for you. I get it. Doesn't mean you wouldn't call us. It's a live drip campaign. I absolutely love it, man. So here's the thing. We're running low on time. We got to crank out a couple of action items, obvious ones, I'd say today, but why don't you go ahead and kick one off? I'll take the second one.
Okay. So in both situations, they're really only hindered by your commitment to doing them. No matter how effective the program is, you not taking the first step immediately tanks the entire process. Whether it's, I don't want to ask her the review because that might be pushy, or I don't want to knock on the door because that might be soliciting. I don't care. You have to do one of them at least. So say to yourself, what am I losing by not doing this thing? And usually what it is I could have gotten a review for free. I could have gone and gotten a lead for free. I could have built a $100,000 lifetime relationship, a client relationship for free. And I chose not to do it because I was chicken. That's really what it comes down to.
And now you'll never know.
You don't do it.
The only thing you will know is the price of, the SEO and the pay-per-click and all the marketing, additional investments you'd have to do. But as you know, we're trying to do this as organic as possible. So in this $1 million launch, would it be wrong of us to want to collect as many reviews as possible and talk to as many new friends as possible, especially where we have the leverage of knowing what's probably wrong with their system, being that it was built by the same builders that John's house was.
Mm-hmm. When you have aluminum wiring there and the whole house was cookie cutter in the same development, they likely have the same panel and the same service and the same backstabbed outlets and the same aluminum wiring. Why wouldn't you help them? That's actually more of a disservice, because if you really cared about your clients and you really cared about their neighbors, you wouldn't even warn them.
Yeah.
What does that say about your commitment to your safety?
Yeah, it's massive. Massive, man. Hey, did we only do one action item? I completely got lost in that. I'm so passionate about this.
We did the basic one, and we're
All
on
right.
the T for you did the all-star. Unless you want to pass it to me, I'm happy to take it.
You know what? I'm going to do something. We've never done this one before, I think. Well, maybe a brighter day call process. Anyway, I want you to smile and enjoy it. Gosh, is that ever hard? I know that there's nerves around this, but let's talk about where those nerves are related to for a moment. This fear of rejection. You're not asking for anything. You're giving a convenience. You're literally conveniencing them by letting them know, hey, I know how hard it is to get an electrician these days, so I just wanted to pop by and introduce myself. Let you know that we just served John, and if you need anything, van's in the way, whatever you need, I'm here. Here's my number. Give me a call. Isn't it nice to make new friends? I recognize that post-COVID, this is less and less common of a tonality, right? Of an intention behind people to like meet people in person is like super nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
But smile when you do it, just like answering the phone, when people answer the door, when you ask for a review. It's pushy if you believe it is. So don't be pushy. Smile and think about the joy you've brought to someone, the joy you intend to bring someone, and the care that you have for them. I think that'll go a long way, Joe.
I would agree with you, brother.
All right. This has been another episode of Electricpreneur Secrets, episode 253. When do we stop? I don't know, man. We just keep going. But we're here 5 days a week to help you master your sales, simplify your pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. And tomorrow will be no exception as we're shifting gears. We've almost got our whole process locked in this $1 million launch. So stick around and watch us scale this beast. We'll talk to you soon.
Can't wait to see you then.